Welcome back to the deep dive. We gather insights from all sorts of sources, spiritual texts, research,
Yeah,
and boil them down for you.
we do.
And today, wow, we're tackling one of the most persistent issues people face, often, very privately,
Yeah.
why relationships struggle.
Yeah.
Dating, marriage problems, family stuff, even intimacy issues within committed relationships. It comes up constantly.
Constantly. And the sad thing is, the usual advice, the books, the techniques, the steps, they often miss the mark, don't they?
You really do. It feels like they're just treating symptoms.
Exactly. The arguments, the unmet needs, the communication breakdown, that's all surface level. They don't get to the root cause, the operating system underneath.
Okay.
So today we're aiming to uncover something deeper, a kind of secret, maybe, about the blueprint for how men and women relate. And it's very different from the usual advice.
Okay, let's get into it. You're saying our source material really focuses on a core spiritual idea about man and woman. It often starts with those passages people quote, like, wife submits, husband loves.
Right. And people read those, and what do they immediately think?
Rules, a checklist.
A checklist. Exactly. Like, okay, here's the contract. If I tick these boxes, boom, perfect marriage.
Sure.
They treat it like a legal code.
But the source material says, hang on, that's not the main point. It calls the whole man-woman dynamic a great mystery.
A great mystery, and then clarifies straight away, this mystery is really about Christ and the church.
Okay, Christ and the church. How does connecting those, which sound pretty abstract, unlock, everyday satisfaction between two people?
Because it completely changes the game. It shifts everything away from law, from rules, towards an analogy, a living blueprint. God didn't just hand down regulations. He showed us a pattern. If you treat your relationship like a law, you got to obey perfectly. It's going to buckle under the pressure. But if you see it as mirroring this ultimate giver, Christ, and the ultimate receiver, the church, suddenly it starts to make sense in a different way.
So it's not about moral effort, it's about design.
Yeah.
Designed roles working together.
Precisely. It's about synergy based on that design, not just willpower.
Okay, let's dive into part one then. The trap of the law, mentality, and love. The sources give this picture, it's kind of funny but also really sad, of couples treating marriage like signing a contract.
Oh, absolutely. They walk in, maybe not consciously, but with this huge invisible list, right? 100 standards they expect the other person to meet,
Yeah.
and the first thing they do, they go buy those relationship books.
Yeah.
But they buy them for their spouse.
Oh, I've seen that. The wife gets How to Understand Your Man, hoping he gets fixed. The husband buys Secrets of a Happy Wife, hoping she learns something.
It's always about fixing the other person. We're masters at spotting flaws over there.
We really are.
Demanding standards from someone else, easy. But then you look at the standards aimed back at you, and you hit that core problem. The source says the flesh cannot accomplish it.
Meaning our own flawed human nature are trying harder. It just can't sustain that level of perfection.
Nope. It's just not wired for it.
Okay, I can see how this connects to why relationships often feel like they degrade. You mentioned closeness leads to higher demands. That feels like a real paradox. We want to be close, but closeness ups the ante.
It's the silent killer, Think about it. A stranger, 0 demands, they annoy you in traffic, whatever. A colleague, okay, basic politeness maybe.
Sure.
A friend, loyalty, support. But your spouse, the person you share everything with, suddenly the expectations shoot through the roof.
Oh.
Every little flaw, every mistake gets magnified because you're operating under this immense unspoken law, the law of the spouse.
So getting closer means moving into a high-pressure courtroom instead of a safe place.
Wow. No wonder people sometimes feel like marriage is the tomb of love. That's exactly the feeling when it's all viewed through that legalistic lens. And look, even when people do manage to check the boxes, they're faithful. They remember the anniversary. They do the chores.
Yeah.
There's often this hidden cost. They're using those actions like currency. Like, okay, I did my part. Now where's my payback? Where's the gratitude? You owe me.
Oof. So it's not free giving, it's a transaction.
It's a transaction, demanding a return on their good deeds. And that just sucks the joy right out of it.
Okay, if that transactional legalistic thing is the problem, let's get to part two. The radical shift. Moving towards less law, not more. Now, hold on. I can hear people thinking, wait, less law, doesn't that just mean letting everything slide, no accountability?
That's the key misunderstanding, isn't it? We're not talking about ditching basic morality or giving a license for bad behavior, no. We're talking about the specific internal standards within the relationship itself.
Oh, okay.
Remember the example of the speaker's wife? She was afraid marriage meant entering this deep abyss of constant judgment, suffering, loss of freedom.
Yeah.
But the divine idea flips that. It says a truly beautiful, joyful marriage actually has less internal law, not more rules and constraints.
That still feels backward somehow.
Yeah.
How can a strong relationship need lower standards?
Because its strength isn't built on human perfection. It can't be. It has to be built on grace, divine grace.
Okay.
So a good relationship, paradoxically, has more acceptance, more patience, quicker forgiveness. If you demand your partner become a saint overnight, you're asking the impossible.
Because, as the source says, our basic human capacity, the flesh, has no goodness in that perfect sense.
Right. It can't sustain sainthood.
Yeah.
So demanding it forces your partner to fake it, to wear a mask, to become a hypocrite, just to survive your judgments.
Wow. So the minute I demand that perfection, I actually lose the tool I need grace to handle their inevitable imperfection.
You got it. Forgiveness. That's not just a nice idea or therapy trick. It's not natural to us, not really. It only becomes possible when we rely on something bigger, on grace, on the Spirit, recognizing, hey, I'm imperfect too. I need forgiveness just as much. So when couples try to power through on sheer willpower and keeping score, the law mentality, real forgiveness becomes structurally impossible. Joy just vanishes. Seeing your partner as already forgiven by God, that's the key to restoring joy.
Okay, that sets us up really well for part 3, the secret of satisfaction.
Right.
If we ditch the scorekeeping, what's the actual structure supposed to look like?
We go back to that divine blueprint idea. How is God satisfied? The source says he gets unique satisfaction from seeing us, his creation, satisfied and joyful. Our joy satisfies him.
Okay, God is satisfied by our satisfaction. How does that play out between man and woman?
We see those two core roles again. Woman mirroring the church, the receiver. Man mirroring Christ, the giver.
Right, the receiver and the giver.
So the woman, as the receiver, finds her core satisfaction when her needs, her desires are genuinely met. She's fulfilled by receiving that satisfaction. It completes her role.
And the man, as the giver.
His deepest, most profound satisfaction comes when his woman is satisfied. Seeing her fulfilled by him is his ultimate fulfillment.
Okay, let's use that Solomon example you mentioned. He had literally everything. Money, power, wisdom, tons of women. But he ended up feeling empty. Why?
Because he missed the point of his role. He was acting like a collector, a consumer. He was focused on the temporary pleasure he received. He wasn't succeeding in the man's core mission, being a successful supplier of deep, genuine, lasting satisfaction to the one he was with.
So if the receiver isn't truly satisfied, the giver can't be either.
Exactly. A man's deepest fulfillment isn't in taking, it's in successfully giving, successfully contributing to her joy and well-being.
But here's the rub in real life, right?
Yeah.
The man, just using his own strength and understanding his flesh, he often can't fully satisfy the woman on his own. He needs help.
And this is the huge twist. This redefines the woman's role as the helper. It's not primarily about helping him fix the car or manage the finances, though that's good too. Her fundamental, unique role is to help him know how to satisfy her.
Whoa, okay, that's big. So if the man's the giver, the woman is the guide.
The guide. Perfect word. Think about prayer again.
Yeah.
God already knows what we need, right? But he asks us to articulate it, to pray. Why? So when he provides it, we recognize it came from him, and we experience the joy of answered prayer, of satisfaction.
I see the parallel.
It's similar here. The source uses the idea that the man was asleep when woman was created, meaning he doesn't automatically, intuitively understand her inner world, her specific needs, her complex wiring.
So if she's the only one who truly gets what she needs physically, emotionally, spiritually, then her job isn't just to complain when he gets it wrong.
Right.
But to actually explore her own needs, figure them out, and then communicate them.
To guide him.
Yes, guide him towards success. And that's tough because society often tells women to either be passive and hope he guesses or just be critical when he fails. But if she doesn't know herself what truly satisfies her deep down, if she just says, I don't know, just make me happy, then she can't guide him. The giver can't succeed, and both end up feeling unfulfilled. Which brings us neatly to part 4. Shame, standards, and the path back to real intimacy. The ideal starting point in Genesis is naked and unashamed. What does that imply?
It implies total vulnerability, total authenticity. Why? Because there was no law yet. No judgment, no fear of getting it wrong. The second law enters the picture, shame follows. And what do people do when they feel shame? They hide. They put on masks, those hypocritical Pharisee masks we mentioned.
The source connects this to eating the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil. Right after that, Adam and Eve felt shame, started hiding from God. How does that play out in a marriage?
It plays out when couples start prioritizing their own individual standards of right and wrong, their personal fruit from the tree above the relationship itself.
Because my idea of right will inevitably clash with your idea of right at some point.
Always. We end up using these personal standards to judge, to condemn, to prove the other person wrong.
Which leads right into that self-righteous trap. We've all been there. When I focus on my partner's mistake, you messed up, I am right. It feels kind of powerful, justified.
It does. But here's the devastating insight from the source.
Yeah.
If you stand firm in believing you are 100% correct in that moment,
Yeah.
then you implicitly believe you don't need forgiveness right then. And if you don't need forgiveness, then God's love, which operates entirely through grace and reconciliation, it just can't flow through you.
Wow.
By standing on your own righteousness, your I'm right, you actually block the very source of love needed to heal the situation. And it makes it impossible for you to truly forgive your partner.
So my feeling right is the actual barrier, not just their mistake. That's profound. So the only way out of this legalistic loop is to stop seeing my partner through my own moral judgment. Stop focusing on the fig leaves they might be using to hide.
Yes, you have to consciously choose to see them through a different lens, through Christ's covering. The source uses the image of the best robe from the prodigal son story, meaning you choose to see Jesus in them, remembering that higher power has already dealt with their failings. Their debt is paid. It removes the necessity for you to condemn them with your own flawed, arbitrary standards.
And that's what allows the masks to come off, to get back to being, well, naked and unashamed.
That's the only way back to genuine intimacy, dropping our standards and picking up God's perspective of grace.
This has been a really radical shift from how we usually think about relationships. So just to recap the core secret here, man finds his fulfillment when the woman is satisfied. He's the giver.
Right. Succeeds by giving.
But he can't really do it perfectly on his own. He needs her help, her guidance. She's the helper to actually understand what truly satisfies her.
It takes self-awareness from her and courage to communicate it. And for anyone listening trying to apply this, maybe the biggest hurdle isn't your partner's obvious flaws. Maybe it's their or your failure to truly know yourselves well enough to articulate what genuine satisfaction even looks like.
That puts a lot of responsibility back on us. But it's also kind of empowering, isn't it? So the final thought we want to leave you with is this. How can you perhaps take more initiative to understand your own deepest needs, and then find ways to articulate them to essentially help your partner succeed in the beautiful task of satisfying you? Something to think about.